Hey, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review on the Smiths' The Queen is Dead. Wow, this was an interesting review. Man, in my childhood, when it comes to the Smiths, like my sister, I was the youngest of four kids, and my older sister was 6.5 years older than the next was my next oldest sister, and she was 5 years difference, and then my brother was a little bit less than 2 years, so he was like a year and like 5 months difference. So each of them had their own taste in music, and still do. And but collectively, I had some really, and that's kind of helped me with my. I feel like I have pretty various tastes, but I don't think there was any one band more so than the Smiths where two of the three siblings two of my three siblings loved the band as much as my oldest sister and my brother liked the Smiths. So like whenever they would get together, whenever they would make me mixtapes, um, they would always have the Smiths on there. Every mixtape, I know the songs like it's they're probably my most familiar songs that I don't have a lot of their music. I have most of their albums. I have Rank. I have Queen is Dead. I have Louder Than Bombs. I think I have Strange Ways, Here We Come, and I think I have the blue one, one of their early ones. I can't remember the name of it. I think that I'm only missing like either one or two Smiths album, and I really like the first few Morrissey albums solo as well. So for the most part, I have most of their music, but it's like there's no other band that I feel like, and I have some CDs by them as well, but these songs are just like ingrained in me and branded on my brain. And especially like not maybe even not so much this album as the earlier ones. Um, I don't remember my sister. I mean, Queen is Dead. The I don't remember. My brother played this album a lot. I don't remember my sister playing a lot. By '86, maybe she was still into the Smiths all the way through when they ended up breaking up. But I don't. And she had this album, but I just don't remember her playing it. But I'm sure she played it a lot. But when Louder and Rank came out, like those are the albums we played it, or they played all the time because that had the most tracks on it, had the most songs. But Smiths are just like branded on my brain, so it was interesting kind of doing a review on their album, and I knew this review would be kind of maybe a little. I wouldn't say it's a uh, what do you call it? Like a big deal if I don't rate it fantastic. You know what I mean? Like most people do. But it's a lot more up and down than I thought it was. I thought I thought I would have it rated higher than I do. But let's look at each song and see why that is. So first, Queen is Dead. I think it's one of their most complete Smiths track in the more rocky, upbeat way. It's just, I mean, throughout the track, they're keeping the energy really strong. The quality is there. Morrissey sings it really cool. It's one of the best sort of fast jams. Also, Big Mouth Strikes Again is a little like this as well. Just a little bit faster, but they do well to carry the momentum through the whole song and make it good, and it kind of keeps Morrissey kind of in a little bit of wouldn't say keeps him sort of in lockdown so he can't ad lib and kind of do his thing, but it keeps him more on tempo, and he's got to talk a little bit quicker. So I really like that. It's kind of different, and I really like the piano edition near the end, the guitar licks. I mean, Johnny Marr is a legend in so many ways. Not only because I'm a big electronic fan, but also because I do like the Smiths a lot. But I like his solo stuff too. I like Johnny Marr. I mean, he's amazing. He's played on so many great songs. I got 3.5 stars. Really strong track. I thought I would rate it a little bit higher, like maybe close to 4 stars, but I feel pretty happy with 3.5 stars. It's in between very good and excellent. Really good song. And then almost every song seems to go up and down on this. Frankly, Mr. Shankly, it's creative. It sounds like a drinking song. It's Morrissey and the Smiths are always catchy. That's one thing, and that could be weird lyrics and weird topic, and Morrissey singing out, and they're all just kind of jamboree, right? It's just one of the interesting things about this is that yeah, the lyrics are kind of campy and sometimes a little dreary, sometimes happy, but it's very kind of moody and different, and but then you listen to the music and it's really for the most part it's really happy. Well, I wouldn't say most part, but it's the happy ones are really upbeat and happy instrumentally, but not always the lyrics are. That's for sure. And there's a light that never goes out as a prime example of that, right? Just kind of um, interesting lyrics with a really beautiful, happy song. But frankly, Mr. Shankly, it's catchy, but it just I can't really call it a good song. I got it 1.5. It's a little bit better than okay. It's in between okay and good. I know it's over. I really like the song. I mean, it's one of my favorite kind of slower songs that the Smiths do. I love the moody, its pacing, the bass line, strings, chorus, the way he sings it. It's catchy. I think the only drawback of it, it's maybe a little bit too long. Like it's pushing like 5 minutes and like 50 seconds, and like the last minute and a half is really Morrissey kind of going on, and and it still works, but it does kind of it doesn't hurt my score on it. Well, actually, it actually did. Actually, I did have it 4 stars, and I was like, "This is kind of going on a little long," so I took off a quarter star. um, I was like, "It can't be excellent if it's going on too long." So it did affect my score a little bit, but I think it's still an excellent song. It's just, I was like, "Oh man." It's funny when you score stuff; it's going to be a little bit differently than how you think it, but it is funny that when I did that, and then I was like, thinking it was too long because I know there was a lot of times where I ended up kind of skipping to the next song after I hear most of it because it goes on too long. Never had one ever. Can't say much about it. It's just okay. 1 star. I got nothing bad or nothing good to say about it. I don't. So again, just up and down. 3.5 star, 1.5, 3 and 3/4 stars, 1 star. Just Cemetery Gates. Really catchy, short and concise. This is kind of like Hairdresser on Fire or um, William It Was Really Nothing. I mean, this is kind of like the quintessential tight Smith song that's really catchy that has strange lyrics, but it's so catchy and concise, and Johnny Marr's guitars are, the rhythm's so tight and the band is so tight that, it's catchy. It's really catchy. I got a very good track. It's got 3 stars all day. And then you got Big Mouth Strikes Again. Catchy, no doubt. Guitars and band really sound tight here. Carries the song well. I got it really close to. Well, I got it in between 2.5, 2 and 3 stars. 2.5. Really good song. Then you got The Boy with a Thorn in His Side. Here's the single here. This comes with the demo version. Actually, it's the demo version and Rubber Ring. I think this is. I think this came out in like 2014 or something like that. But such an amazing song, just an all-time classic. Um, an amazing Johnny Marr moment. I put Morrissey's one of Morrissey's more smoother moments. He stays more in his lane, but he still allows him to kind of do his kind of rambles at the end, and um, along with the guitar riff, kind of carries the song to an amazing outro. Strings and amazing ending, so memorable and catchy. Um, I put yodel eliteness. and, Morrissey's yodeling at the end. It's just magic. I mean the and then the added drum rolls at the end on the toms is great as it fades out. Just such an amazing song. Just I mean one of the best Smith songs for sure. Probably it'd have to be in my top 5 for sure. like Smith songs. It's right in there. Um, just an amazing song. I mean, so many memories of it, and every time it's one of those songs, just like There's a Light That Never Goes Out. There's two on here that you just play over and over and over and over and over again. The first time you heard it, the second time you hear it, you don't mind if you hear it for another hour in a row. On the 100th time you heard it, just an awesome song. And then it goes to Victor in a Tutu. I gave it half a star. It's the worst song on the album. It's just it's amazing that I've heard this album reviewed in the past, and people go on and on about the overall the volume album, and they don't mention how it's really kind of up and down. I mean, there's brilliance, and then I got Victor and a Tutu, and it's in between. There's a Light That Never Goes Out. What can you say about that song? It's just unusual lyrics for a pop song, unusual kind of down lyrics, but then it's a happy instrumental song, like I was saying earlier. The hook, the strings, Morrissey's ad libbing really brings it home. Just a great balance of the harmonies and the guitar and the keyboards, and an all time classic. It's just, you know, one of the most beautiful last minutes of a song ever. It's just, the last minute is just, I mean, it's just the strings and then that doo doo doo, the little keyboard. I got it 5 stars. Just an all time great 80s song. Just one of the all time best. I don't think How Soon Is Now is in my top 5 Smith songs, but I respect it for how different and unique and how cool it is. It's definitely a great song, but I don't have it. I would probably rank it 4.5 stars. I don't think Boy with Thorn in His Side and There's a Light That Never Goes Out, they top it. This is the all time best Smith song. I have no doubt in saying that. Now, Every Day is Like Sunday. I really, really like that one too. That one's probably 4.75 stars, maybe 4.5. But There's a Light That Never Goes On, no doubt, 5 stars all day, every day. One of the most amazing songs. You know, the dichotomy of hymns, you know, and that's just kind of shows you like how original and how different the Smiths were for that song and those lyrics. I mean, there's never been a band that really has done that on a pop or alternative rock. Like, you know, sure, there's like maybe like some darker like metal or something like that talks about some dreary things, and you know, and then the music's kind of fairly upbeat. But this is like poppy, um, poppy song, and it sounds all happy and beautiful, and and then the lyrics are so down about somebody getting hit and killed by a bus driver. You know, just you know, that's kind of the extreme of it. But the extreme of my analogy that, or my idea of them being so unique in the 80s, and they have to, it kind of like the Smiths have to be one of the best alternative bands of all time. You know, and I'm saying that not that they're close to be my favorite. You know, I know how Smiths fans can be. You know, the people that love Smiths, they live or they die in Smiths, and there's bands where you play them for an hour, and you're like, you'd be okay if that's all you ever heard was, not ever, but you know what I mean. Like, you were listening in the moment, you don't want to change the album. You're fine. Like, and you're like, this is really great music, and you know, whether that's for an hour or 3 hours, it doesn't really make too much difference. But it feels like you're like, there's nothing else I want to hear right now. There's very rare to do bands where I'm not thinking about, you know, what else can I play. Like, I'm playing it and I'm really enjoying it, and it's and the Smiths are one of those. You know, that I respect them so much, and you know, but they aren't, you know, anywhere close for me personally. Between, you know, maybe because I like electronic music more, but you know, they're not close to The Cure or Depeche Mode or New Order or Pet Shop Boys for me, or Skinny Puppy, or you know. But they're kind of Smiths are kind of like my Beatles. Like, if I grew up in the '60s and '70s, and the Beatles is like your, for somebody who's like 65 or 70, 75 years old, like the Beatles are kind of like their band for their era. Smiths are kind of like that alternative band for me. It's just I grew up with their music and I really like their music, but it's hard to rate their songs. I never rated their songs like this, and it's really kind of eye opening to see how up and down the album was. So then the overall good of the album, just some thoughts, just some classic Smith songs on here. I got Mar, 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 just Johnny Marr all day, just a freaking riff genius. I mean, I just where would the Smiths be without Johnny Marr's guitar? That's almost as important as the Smiths being without Morrissey. Like I don't, there's nobody that could have the I wouldn't say the skill or the persona or the understanding of what would work with Morrissey's voice, but it's more than just it's the tone of his guitar that goes so well. It's the his pacing, his everything he does when he plays is just so perfect with Morrissey's voice and the band. It's just I mean it's really amazing, and I can still say all that and say that they aren't one of my top 10 favorite bands, but I really respect the Smiths a lot, and that's even considering how kind of jaded Morrissey is. Um, just classic songs in here. The the boy with the thorn in his side, and again, there's light that never goes out. There's two really good supporting songs, and I know it's over, and the Queen is dead. So just four super strong songs. That support um, the album being ranked pretty really positively. Um, and it's got a little bit of every song. It's got the driving songs. It's got the more melodic songs. It's kind of got the cheeky kind of humorous song in Cemetery Gates. It's got the ballad and and I Know It's Over. So it's got all the styles of of the Smiths. As far as the opportunities, the holes in the album, the ups and downs, mostly the downs. uh, maybe the highs are kind of mask the lows a little bit. I mean the overall songs, not the frequencies, but the super. I think that's why the this album is ranked so highly. Like I think the highs really are so high that everybody thinks that this album is great, and then they miss kind of like the lows, or maybe they're looking into the lyrics and overblowing. Like I mean, I know Morrissey is really pretty creative, and he is kind of like a poet the way he writes stuff and just his thoughts and the honesty about singing them and not necessarily even the point of view, although some of the point of views might be a little bit interesting, especially to people that really kind of get into it. And maybe there's some people that don't believe in God and they're very kind of anarchist and they really like the way that Morrissey puts things. I don't know if that's true. I don't look into lyrics like that. He's certainly more on the emotional side where I get it, where he does really help you kind of capture or be in the mood of feeling like depressed or sad or angry even, or like he can get you into feeling those emotions with his voice and the songs. Like I get it, but um I just can't ignore the lows on here. I don't know how anybody could listen to this album and not be like Victor and the Tutu is not a good song. I don't. It's in between two amazing songs. In some ways, it makes it worse. Maybe they're overshadowing it. Maybe I could give it. Excuse me. Maybe I give it like a one, and maybe if I kept playing it a few more times in a row, like I would like it to where it's okay. But it just doesn't work for me. It never did. I never played that song, and then I played it today. I was like, I can see why I didn't never played it. That's the thing about the Smiths. Like, I, I don't. I'm not huge. I'm not. I have the albums for the most part, but I you have to understand I buy a lot of music, and so but of any band, I don't listen to the album necessarily in a row by Morrissey. It's more, I mean, the Smiths. It's more about choosing songs and playing them. And I guess that's probably because if you guys have ever heard Louder Than Bombs or you've ever heard Rank, and those are kind of greatest hits, like those are so awesome that I listen to those more so than these albums in full. And the other thing too about that too is I remember I had some greatest hits that I made up by myself that had my favorite Smith songs on, and I would go through and I went through the albums and picked out the best songs. So I remember early on, like probably when I was 13, 14, because I didn't have the Smiths. Most of these ones are probably I've bought the Smith songs in the last like 15 years or something, just reissues and stuff like that for the most part when they first kind of came out like 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was. But I mean, after like when my when I started, I was like, oh, I want to hear some Smiths. Then I kind of went back to my brother's collection, and I must have went to my sister's collection and went through all the albums and recorded the best songs because I had like a couple greatest hits. Like I think it was like 2 90-minute cassette tapes, and I had all of my favorite songs on there, all the way up through Bonnet Drag and Viva Hate, and those up to like '89. So I was like 13. So those were my ones that I listen to all the time. So I don't play a lot of the lesser known tracks and I can, and it's funny is like, and that's how much I've heard those Smith songs is like I can instantly tell like, oh yeah, okay, that song, yeah, I never liked that song. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I'll put that on that one. I'll record that one. Like it's instantly like if it's a good song or not. It's like instant with me because I've heard them all so many times, you know. Um, but yeah, just ups and downs, just some serious track weaknesses in here. Um, and I put perhaps that's kind of the ironic thing about Morrissey's genius is that some songs really work and some don't, you know. And I feel like some of these songs are kind of like could have been a lot better if Morrissey didn't control. I don't know how controlling he was on the type of songs and things like that. Like they seem to be all happy to play together even though they broke up. But you know what I mean? It's like the music really evolves around Morrissey's words, right? So Morrissey's inconsistent. It's not the band that's inconsistent. It's Morrissey that's consistent. His his attitudes, his personality, his everything about him is inconsistent. I'm not saying inconsistent on his morals or his values or anything like that. I'm just saying inconsistent on his personality and his moods are just up and down. They're all over the place. This album is a perfect sign of that, and some don't work. And some of them are really kind of spontaneous. Oh, I wrote about cemetery gates, and it works. And Hairdresser on Fire, Death of a Disco Dancer. Okay, that one didn't work so much, but it's just like some of the songs are just like so whimsical and put out there. They just either work or they don't. But there's still kind of a mad genius in there that I feel like Morrissey is in kind of his own way. He is kind of a brilliant poet, but when you've put out 100, 150, 200 songs in your career, if you put out 150, 200 poems, there's going to be some ones that aren't so great. I mean, not everybody's, 100% on everything. How many, I think about Edgar Allan Poe. How many poems does he have out? 30, 40? I'm sure if he had like 200, it wouldn't be so consistent. But that's just, the nature of the game. But so yeah, looking at the overall of this album, so here's where it kind of the rubber meets the road, right? Got one 5-star track, one 4-star track, three 3-star tracks, two 2-star tracks, two 1-star track, and one under 1 star. So 5 over very good, 5 under very good, right in the middle. So that's how much some of the worst tracks kind of hurt the better ones, kind of make it average. Average album. I got it 27.75, so 27 and 3/4 stars divided by 10 songs, 2.75. So normally that would put it probably right under 70. So probably somewhere in between like 60, around 65 to 67, right? You know, yeah, six. Sorry, that would be in between 60 and about 65, and yeah, and I feel like it's a better album now because the highs are highest. The highs are super high, and I think they're all time classics on here. And I really love it. I know it's over, and Queen is Dead is a really good song too. But how can an album with two amazing songs, some of the best songs of the '80s, in my opinion, for alternative rock, be on an album that's less than very good, right? So I pushed it over. I pushed it over. Overall, I pushed it to 72. Again, the score is probably around a 67, 70. On the very high side, but I got it into very good. I got it 72 because the highs are so high on this. I'm not going to overlook those. But, it's still lower than what I thought it was. I thought this would be closer to 80. I thought this might be the best Smiths album. But now that I'm thinking, the lows are really low. I think, what's the Blue album? Uh, with Hand in Glove, and I can't think of the album. It's right over there, but that's the only album I can't think of. I think it's their first or second album. But I think that album is probably going to be more highly rated because there's less stinkers. I keep saying stinkers. Less good tracks, right? I mean, this album has 3 songs under a star, or at a star and under. Just the lows are too low. But that's Queen is Dead, 72 out of 100. I still really like the album and I love those songs, but just overall, I can see why I don't play this album a lot in a row. It's all about playing the singles when it comes to Morrissey songs and Smith songs for me. A lot of the times, I have I can't reach it, but there's a Smiths double CD I have of their greatest hits, and I play that all the time. That one's got like 40 songs on it, and there's so many good songs on here. But I don't think I'd be interested to see which songs of this album are on there, because I don't think any of the ones that I dislike are on that one. But yeah, that's my review on Queen is Dead. All right, thanks so much. Have a good day.